Hey everyone and welcome. If you're from Germany and you absolutely love horses, then this is for you. Today we're going to get you Sattelfest, totally saddle ready, with all the essential English you'll need to feel right at home in any stable, anywhere.
So you know your way around the horse, no problem. But talking about it in English? Yeah, it can feel a little tricky, right? You are definitely not alone. Equestrian language has its own world of specific terms. So what we're going to do is take a little virtual day at the stables together and pick up all the key vocabulary you need to feel completely confident.
All right, so first things first on our tour, the horses themselves. Let's start with the absolute basics, the words you'll use to describe the different horses you're going to meet in the barn.
First up, what you call astute is called a mare in English. Now, this specifically refers to a female horse that's 4 years old or older. So you might hear someone say, that lovely chestnut is a well-behaved mare. Simple as that.
And what about a Wallach? Well, in English, that's a gelding. You will hear this term all the time. And just so you know, an unneutered male horse is called a stallion. So just think gelding for that calm, gentle guy in the stable.
And here's some really great news. All your knowledge about German breeds, it translates almost perfectly. Your beloved Hannoveraner is simply a Hanoverian. And the same thing goes for Holsteiner, Trakehner, and Oldenburger. See, you're practically an expert already.
Okay, so let's head on over to the tack room. When we're talking about all the equipment, there's one super important word that will immediately make you sound like you totally belong.
And that word is tack. Yep, tack. So instead of trying to list the bridle, the saddle, the girth, and everything else, you can just call all of it tack. So when you hear someone say, let's go clean the tack, you'll know exactly what they mean. It's such a great catch-all term.
Now, here's some of the most essential pieces of tack you're going to need to know. Some are pretty easy, right? Saddle becomes saddle, but you might have noticed that for halfter and decke, there are two different English options listed. So why is that? Well, there's a very, very good reason.
And it all comes down to a really key difference between UK and US English. What someone in Britain calls a head collar, an American will call a halter. A horse rug in the UK becomes a blanket in the US. So here's a little pro tip. If you really want to sound like a local, just try to remember which side of the pond you're on.
All right, we've got our horse, we've got our tack, and you know what that means. It's time to ride. So let's head into the arena and learn the English words for all the key movements and actions.
Okay, let's just walk through a typical ride. You start with mounting the horse. Then you move through the gates. Schritt is a walk, and trub is a trot. Now this next one is a big one. Your everyday galopp is actually a canter in English. That really fast 4-beat pace you see in horse racing, that's a gallop. And when you're all finished, it's time for dismounting.
But what if you're not riding in an arena? What if you're out in the countryside? Well, there's a fantastic term for this, especially popular in the UK, hacking. If you're riding on trails, through the woods, or along country roads, you're hacking. So you might hear someone ask, hey, fancy going for a hack this afternoon? It's the perfect phrase for a trail ride.
Okay, so you've got all this great new vocabulary for what you do at the stables. But how do you talk about what you've already done? Well, there's one simple grammar tool that is perfect for this, and trust me, you'll use it all the time.
It's called the present perfect tense, and honestly, it is way simpler than it sounds. Just think about it this way. Imagine you just finished cleaning a stall. What's the result? The stall is clean right now. To connect those two ideas, you say, I have cleaned the stall. See? It perfectly links your past action to the present result.
And building it is super easy. It's just have or has plus the main verb, which usually ends with an ed, like groomed or cleaned. Now, for a few irregular verbs, like ride, the form is ridden. So you can confidently say things like, she has groomed her pony, or we have ridden the new trail.
And here's a little cheat sheet to make it even easier. If you see any of these signal words, like since, for, already, or yet, that's a huge clue that you should probably use this tense. Think about questions like, have you ever ridden a Hanoverian? Or a statement like, I haven't groomed him yet. They're like little signposts for your grammar.
Okay, now for the really fun part. To take your English to the next level, we're going to look at a few things that will make you sound less like you're reading from a textbook and more like a real local writer. This is all about cultural nuance, especially if you find yourself in the UK.
First up, we have to talk about a classic British trait, understatement. As one person on a forum put it so perfectly,
Brits often downplay how much they enjoy things. And this is a really key cultural habit that can be kind of confusing if you don't know what you're listening for.
So building on that idea, and this is so important, if a British rider tells you your ride was rather nice or quite good, please don't be disappointed. In this context, rather and quite actually mean very. It's just a more modest, a more humble way of giving you high praise. Trust me on this one, rather nice is a huge compliment.
And there you have it. That's our little tour. From the names of the gear to the grammar of the stable, you now have a fantastic foundation to feel confident wherever you go. You're not just learning words, you're learning the culture that goes with them. So the real question isn't just if you're ready for your first hack, it's what new adventures are you going to have now that you can speak the language.